Warning, this podcast contains heavy spoilers for not just one movie, but entire franchises. We highly recommend going and watching these movies before listening to us as a companion piece that stitches all the timelines into one creepy, crime-ridden story. There will be no more spoiler warnings. We do not break character. After this, there is no turning back. You've been warned. Hit the music.
You are talking about the nonsensical ravings of a lunatic mind.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's
Hello and welcome to It's Alive podcast. This is a true crime, paranormal, interstellar podcast covering unbelievable stories that sound like they're ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood script. I am your host, the outlaw Dr. HR Smoking Scene THC, and with me as always my very own Scream Queen, the perfect combination of beauty and braids, the brightest smoking scene in the heart, expert of guts and gore, the gorgeous, the sexy Amy Rose. Hi. So, I've been thinking all week and I've come to the conclusion that of all the cannibal killers throughout time, Fuad would probably be the one whose food I'd be willing to try it first. Like, gun to my head, he seems like the most qualified.
Okay.
Sawyer's way too unhygienic. Dahmer makes Swiss cheese out of brains and is terrible at storing his meats. Sagawa, too creepy, and I'm not into these fancy celebrity chefs. I mean, like, say what you want about Fuad Ramses, but I heard that guy could cook.
If you say so. I mean, he definitely added an international flair to his meals, which is the perfect jumping point because last week we left Fuad as his first attempt at the ancient blood feast was foiled by Officer Roland Faith and the Paris Police Prefecture, leaving Fuad to escape and flee back to Miami, abandoning his family in European crime spree, only to pick right back up where he left off in the Sunshine State.
I love how the Paris police call themselves perfect.
Oh,
we are perfect.
Prefects, like prefects in school, no?
I don't know. French people, I can take them or leave them.
That's racist.
So, yeah, they're fucking nice of them, isn't it? Just to leave the two of them dealing with the whole shit.
Right?
Because as it stood, they looked complicit in the whole fucking thing. I mean, they're there happily eating up the fucking meal when the cops
Faith
come
and
in.
Penny.
Louise and Penny.
Louise and Penny. Why did I think Faith?
Fathy is the cop.
Yeah.
Foiled.
Yes.
Fuad.
Yes.
And I mean, like, I suppose in this day and age, modern time, younger people will be looking at us and saying, this is ridiculous. You can't just leave country and pick up your serial killing in another country. Everyone's going to know it's going to be all over the web at the time. But this is the 60s. We didn't have they didn't have the web back then. I wasn't there till the 80s, 87, man. And I can't even remember the 80s, so it's more 90s for me. But I mean,
yeah.
it was easier for you to just leave the area and get away with it. I mean, this guy didn't even have to fucking leave country. He could have just went to another part of France and lived a good portion of his life before he got caught.
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah.
It wasn't as complicated. Once you got out of the general area and maybe made a few alterations, like grew a beard or changed your hair or something like that, and then changed your name, you get away with it.
Yeah.
Was it is it John List, the guy that killed his whole family and then moved and was missing for 18 years before he was caught?
Oh my God.
Am I right about him? We've spoken about him before. What are you oh my Godding about?
I don't remember him, if I'm being very honest.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, John List. So he
Oh, I do remember his picture.
He basically, remember, he married a woman who had been married to a soldier, and the soldier died. And then when she married him, she already had gonorrhea or something like that, or syphilis, some bad STD from her last marriage. So she was going a bit, probably syphilis if she was going a bit.
Yeah, sure.
And he kind of just put up with it. But he was extremely religious, and he kind of held the kids kind of to a high standard. Like, they were very sheltered and all this kind of stuff. But like, the kids leading up to the murder were telling other adults outside the houses, like, our dad is about to fucking do something really fucked up to us. We know he's about to do something really fucked up to us. You need to come help us. But he was in so much debt because he had a really big house and he wasn't making a lot of money. And eventually he decided to murder the whole family and start anew. So he killed his wife, killed his mother, or mother-in-law, can't remember. I think it was his mother. She had a little apartment in the house.
Okay.
Killed the two of them before the kids came home. And then as they came home from school, he started killing them. And he left the bodies in the house. And then he just left.
Yikes.
And they found the bodies eventually. And couldn't find him for a very, very long time. He was missing for 18 years. He was still in America. He had just moved location. And what got him caught was they revisited the crime on one of these TV cop shows like America's Most Wanted or something like that. And a neighbor he's a friend of his new wife's, saw it and was like, I know that fucking man. That's him. And then she called in the tip and they eventually arrested him. But he was missing for, I think it was 18 years, I believe. I could be mistaken though on the length. It was definitely a very long period of time. I might be wrong on the 18 years because I was watching stuff about the Irish mob last week. And
that could have been 18
Whitey
years
Bulger
ago.
was definitely on the run for 18 years before he got caught.
Okay.
So I might
Could be
mixing up.
Whitey, could be John.
But no, John was gone for a good long fucking time. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not that hard, especially when he moved continent. Like there is no quick way to tell people what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you're moving to a continent where the cops are at odds from district to district. Do you know? I mean, to put it into Irish terms, the Tralee cops aren't going to tell the Killarney cops what information they fucking have. Do you know?
Oh, does it work like that
and
here
then
as
going
well?
to a county state where, well, I'm just talking if you were in America.
Okay.
State-wise, then you'd have like, New York isn't going to tell New Jersey what they have. Their neighbors are not going to tell each other what they have because they know that if their stats are up, they get more funding.
Okay.
And so they hold back constantly from each other. And there's no such thing as like a computer database that's sending all this information around where you can just be like, I got a fingerprint, type it into the database. This guy was arrested across the country or this guy was arrested across the world. Like, you actually actively have to go looking for this stuff and hope that the other side will be cooperative with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So him getting up and getting the fuck out of there just meant no. If he had never killed it again in America, he probably would have just skated until the internet got fucking big.
Yeah.
True crime fucking podcast would have came out and this guy would have been like, oh, shit.
Yeah, well, this is 1963, so we're still at least 30 years away from the internet, our real kind of forensics. So in the confusion of blood and body parts left behind by Fuad, and with only the blurred, drugged mind of his wife and daughter to go by, it took quite some time to work out whether Fuad was alive or dead. Was he in the mess of gore and viscera, or was he, as the police suspected, the perpetrator of this murderous meal?
No, this kind of all revolved around Officer Fatty's kind of theory of things. Because he had stayed close to the family because he'd gotten close with Penny, as we said in the last episode. And he was the one that actually had a little bit of suspicion on Fuad. And because he was just a uni-cop, a uniformed police officer, the higher-ups aren't going to listen. So let alone do you have issues with trying to get information from one district to another, you also have like this fucking hierarchy within your own district where the guys who have been on the beat a bit longer or detectives now feel like they know more than fucking the guys underneath, so they're not going to bother listening to this guy. It's like, what the fuck do you know? You're only a uniform cop. Go back and fucking write some tickets and leave us alone, They want to go out and do this. And I mean, obviously he was validated when they found the whole fucking mess and shit that was there.
Yeah.
But as you said, then there's gore and viscera and body parts all over the place. You have 7-8 missing people at this point that they know now can link to this guy because they have all the body parts. But how are you going to know who's what? You don't have DNA. You got to hope you're going to get a few fingers fucking out of this, a few hairs out of this, a few, maybe tattooed fucking body parts off of this that might influence your scars or something that might just say,
Animal
okay, this
hair.
belongs to this person, this belongs to that person. And it took them a long time to figure out whose was what. And like you said, it didn't help that Louise and Penny were drugged throughout the whole fucking thing.
No.
So whereas they were there committing a crime when they were found, like we said last week, they had been drugged by, was it Devil's Breath? Is that what we said it was?
Devil's Breath.
And that makes you more influential. People will do as they're told when they're on that drug, and your inhibitions are way fucking down, and you're hungry, so they're eating, they're doing as they're fucking told. So when questioned about the whole scenario, Penny is, she's just like, look, all I can really remember is my dad made me a meal and we were there and we were eating the meal. And the next thing I remember, I waking up in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Louise's was similar, but obviously Louise could give a bit more insight into how we got there because she had suspicion as they were getting there. Because as we pointed out last week, she was questioned by the police and she lied, about Fuad being with her when one of these crimes was taking place. She knew that he had stopped taking his medication for at least a day or two. And from what she said, just before the whole blood feast thing took off, she had actually went to check his medication and realized he had been put sugar pills inside in his medication thing that looked similar to his own pills, so she wouldn't be suspicious. But she tasted one to find out to be sure she was suspicious. She had dealt with his psychosis before.
Yeah.
She knew how far it could go or how deep it could get. So she was worried and she checked one of these pills and realized this is just fucking sugar. This guy is, we need to fucking deal with this. But when she confronted him about it or was preparing to confront him about it, that's when he offered her the drink that put her fucking out. And when she woke up, all she can remember is having a meal with her husband and then waking up in hospital.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, it's, how do you prove that? Because again, we're in the 60s. It's harder for you to get blood work out and fucking figure out what's in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What drug is in there, what drug was used and all this kind of thing. So it takes a lot more time to put the pieces together and realize who is involved with what.
Who did what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And being found the way they were, it seemed like it would be an uphill battle to convince authorities that the two women were also victims in this crime and not willing participants.
I mean, the media played a big part in this as well. The media obviously blew it up. And you see this time and time again. It's worse now because we have social media and people will just go on the attack. And bullshit and lies start to fucking fester into fact. You know?
Yeah.
People think they know the truth, so they put it out as fact, and then other people believe it, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes until it fucking snowballs into a giant fucking avalanche. And this is what was happening to them, Joe. No one was going to believe that these two who were found covered in blood with big smiles on their fucking face weren't involved with this. On top of that, the information comes out that Louise had lied. Police do come forward and say, well, this woman has lied for her husband once.
Yeah.
We know this for a fact now because we know Fuad was the one killing these women.
Okay.
Or these people.
Yeah.
We know 2 of his victims were murdered in this theatre. We also know that we questioned his wife about his whereabouts that night and she said he was with me. Do you know?
Yeah.
And now she's been found taking part in the blood feast. It doesn't really look good for Louise in this scenario. It looks like there's a problem here. But again, as we pointed out, Officer Fatih had a thing for Penny. He was already in a thing with her, and he was able to kind of speak up for her in the sense of, well, I was spending a lot of time with this girl. So as this crime was taking place, she would have been with me a lot.
Okay.
So it's unlikely she's involved here.
Yeah.
Louise, on the other hand, she lied to my face. I can't really speak up for her.
So arrest her.
Exactly. So Penny does get out and gets away to, gets kind of, she's not a suspect anymore. Not a major suspect anymore. But Louise, on the other hand, she's detained. She's got to try and prove her fucking innocence. I mean, like, the thing that was holding Penny up for a while was that it was her friends, her social circle, that made up the blood feast. So there was, it was kind of hypothesized through the media that she was luring the friends to Fuad.
Okay.
That she was the bait. And he come in and swoop down and get him. Because to be fair, we said it ourselves last week, it was a weird move that the day after the theatre murders, she went on her first date with the police officer.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. As if she was trying to keep him.
Seems like a setup. And keep this guy sweet, keep him close.
Yeah.
But at the time, the Paris Police Department, they believed the officer. He believed Penny, but Louise was still a big old question mark. They wouldn't actually be fully exonerated until Fuad's Miami crimes would come to light, although the women were never able to really get out from under Fuad's dark shadow.
Yeah. And with that, let's get back to Fuad and how he got back to Florida and what he did when he got there. Again, as I pointed out above, this is 1963, so escape was a lot easier. For one, airport security was lighter and much less efficient as it is today. To put that into context, these days you need to be at the airport hours before takeoff, while back in 1963 you could arrive 5 minutes beforehand, buy a ticket and still be sitting comfortably in the plane before takeoff. And that's exactly what Fuad did.
Well, I mean, like, airports were a much more chilled out place before the whole 9/11 thing.
Yeah.
That changed everything about
No,
airports.
it did, yeah.
Everything about airports. Now, you'd think with the likes of DB Cooper and stuff like that back in the day, that might have altered how things were done.
Nope.
But, and apparently, like, I've watched documentaries about DB Cooper.
Mm.
Apparently, it was really, really, really common for planes to be hijacked back in, like, the 60s and shit. This was like a weekly thing, like.
So why not tighten security then?
Don't know, man. Don't know. I would have thought after the DB Cooper case, they would have came fucking down hard in it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that man managed to get on without anybody knowing who they were. I've heard a new theory about that, actually.
Wow.
An interesting new theory about that.
Sex change.
That, that it was the flight crew that pulled
We're
it
in
off.
on it.
That it was the fucking guy that drives the airplane. Pilot, that's the word. God damn.
terrible at
mind
this.
fart. It was the pilot or the co-pilot that came back and sat there, and that the flight attendant was in on it and everything, and they played up all the part, and that's why the back is down. The thought of him jumping out is there. They got rid of one of the parachutes, and then when they pulled over, they gave the excuse and walked off with the money.
But he never got off the plane.
But he never got off the plane because he didn't exist.
And they just scattered some...
I have no idea.
I think there was banknotes
that does kind of hurt. There's a story, all right. There was a little kid that found banknotes on the beach decades later.
Decades
later, like buried in the sand kind of thing.
I hope he got away.
Well, he did.
No, as in like he lived. I hope that
Well, there was
got
no
out
body
and
found.
survived.
I mean, if they're out there searching all that area for fucking for money, they're going to find a body.
Yeah, but if you find money on the beach, what's to say that he wasn't dropped into the sea, like, and he just got swallowed up?
Because it wasn't a sea. I think it was a lake.
Lakes are fucking big over there, man.
But then I did just say beach. So I don't know.
Just say beach. I think some lakes have beaches though, don't they? Beaches.
Small lakes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He did get away. There's so many fucking theories on who he was. It's one again that I would absolutely love to fucking know, like, you know.
They might. I mean, they're pretty sure that they found Amelia Earhart, that she was eaten by crabs and there was bits and pieces. So, I mean, like, stranger things have happened
they
than
knew
solving
who
DB
she
Cooper.
was.
Oh, yeah,
You know?
I forgot that
What's
part.
to say that they didn't find a drowning victim a few years later and were like, well, this person is this person. The DB Cooper wasn't his real name.
No, it wasn't.
You know?
What about that guy that was just dead on that beach that time? They kind of the 60s. Do you remember? And they were never able to...
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, we did it this time last
the
year.
secret agent guy.
Yeah. Let's say it's not him. I mean, there's the Austrian guy as well that died in
How
Ireland
close
and
was that,
nobody
though?
knows who he was. His name was Thomas or Peter or something like that. He had like a plastic bag or
I
something.
assume if it was in the general location, though, they'd be like, oh.
Is it DB?
There was also speculation, or this woman that came out and said, this trans woman that went from male to female that claimed it was her.
I heard that.
She
That's what
claimed
was
it
in my
her,
head when I was
that
asking sex
she
change.
needed the
Yeah.
money for the sex change, and then she started a new life.
Like Dog Day Afternoon.
I like that idea.
I do like that
I think that's a
idea.
nice
I hope
idea.
it fucking worked out for her.
But it's funny because nowadays when people go to question some of these people about the DB Cooper thing, they forget that these are cranky old people. And it's like, if you're here to talk to me about DB Cooper, you can get the fuck out of my fucking head. And it's like, oh, he's definitely DB. He doesn't want to talk about it. It's like, no, that
he's
dude's
just
just
an
sick
older. He's just
fucking
sick
shit
of
if
it.
you talking about DB Cooper then.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, at this stage, even in spite of DB Cooper, planes were still a very easy fucking thing to get on. I mean, even in Ireland, at that point, you didn't necessarily need a passport to get on a plane. If you had like identification, like a license or something like that, you could walk onto a plane.
Yeah,
like,
we
you
can
know?
still go to Britain with a driver's license.
I don't know if you can still do that.
I think
You
Aer
could
Lingus.
as a kid, but I don't know if that's still
I
the
see
case.
this debate the whole time. Apparently, they're kind of selective about it. Some people have gotten on recently and some people haven't gotten on recently.
Anytime I went to England, I didn't need a passport. But last time I was
I've
in
never
England
been.
was... Fuck, it has to be about 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
Whenever
did you go by
Liverpool and
boat?
No, it was
Sorry,
after
I
that.
think if you go by boat, you don't need the
No, no.
passport. If you fly, then you need the passport.
I've been there 3 times.
yeah.
Twice by boat, once by plane.
Ah.
I don't remember having a passport going by plane. I think I used my license.
Technically, I think you can argue at the airport that we're in the free travel area.
Well, at the time, they were part of the EU.
Yeah, but as in free travel, it was an agreement between Britain and Ireland.
No idea.
Ah.
But nowadays, they got to fucking give you a whole exam with the rubber glove up the butt and everything before they let you get on a plane.
And you know, if we want to go into the north of Ireland, do we have to show our ID at the border?
I've never been in the north of Ireland.
Neither have I.
So I have no idea.
I must ask.
No idea.
So you'd think that with the state of mind Fuad was in when he was in Paris, that he may be unprepared for a quick escape, but that wasn't the case. The night before the first attempted blood feast, Fuad had emptied the family and business accounts, and while that didn't amount to a lot of riches, it left Fuad with enough to open a small deli. Fuad's exotic deli and catering service.
See, do you think he took that money out to be prepared if things went bad? Or do you think that he was thinking, because like in his mind, I'm not 100% sure if he was bringing Ishtar to him or if he was going to Ishtar, or if he thought they were both going to a different plane, do you know? Because like, I mean, was he bringing money so that he could start a new life with her?
Maybe it was
plan?
all angles. I mean, like, if you realize that what you're doing is a very, very terrible and heinous crime, you're going to have a backup in case it does go wrong.
He was in love with Ishtar. Like he was obviously planning to leave Louise unless he thought
buy her a little house, provide
king
for
and
her
queen, and then Louise was going to be his concubine or something. I don't know.
Louise should have told him to get.
She deserves better.
Better.
So, obviously, this new deli is just a fucking front.
Oh yeah.
A new blood feast. I mean, he'd seen this work in France with his diner, so he's going to try and do something similar. But a diner obviously takes a lot of effort, a lot of paperwork, a lot of fucking paper trail. Whereas a little deli in the 60s, you're probably not going to have the fucking officials coming in and checking you out and stuff like that. Especially when this deli, it's not your typical deli of like you go there and get a fucking sandwich and stuff like this. It was a deli in name only. It was more of a catering service. You came in, you discussed it with him, and then he'd make up the food and go to the party and supply the catering for it. He starts almost immediately because we have like 7 unidentified victims, possibly sex workers. They've never been identified to this day. We don't know. All we know is that his first attacks were sex workers specifically. Police kind of responded. They responded in a slight way to sex workers when they were going missing. They went out and they went on to the hot spots for prostitutes and stuff like that, and kind of tipped them off and told them, you gotta be careful.
Okay.
We know what you're doing. You don't have to admit it to us, but we know what you're up to. Just be known there is a fucking serial killer. We believe there is a serial killer active here and here targeting your type, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But outside that, they weren't doing a whole pile of investigating.
Okay.
Because, we got better things to do than worry about hookers. They're out there. They know the risks. They know what could happen to them out there, and they're breaking the law anyway.
Yeah. You'd wonder how long, as in like how long he would have actually gotten away with it if he just stuck to sex workers. Yeah.
In the 60s in America, he could have went up to the hundreds. He would have completed his blood feast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No problem. I mean, that's how guys back then, that's why it's known as the golden age of the serial killer. 60s and 70s, they could get the fuck away with it, no problem. All you had to do was not have any real attachment to this person.
Yeah.
Pick random. Pick someone completely away from your life and you're going to get away with it because they can't figure out a link. And once they can't figure out a link, that's it. Because again, it's before DNA was a big fucking age. It was a thing. So you coming all over the dead body and walking off, it's not going to get you in trouble now. They will come back and get you in the 90s and the 2000s, but it's not going to be a problem now, and it's same
as long as you're dead before the 90s.
I mean, no, I mean, you know yourself, like dead skin comes off of humans constantly. Hairs come off of humans constantly. When we're talking, little bits of spit come out without us even realizing it, and cops will find those tiny little drops. And that's you done for life, But again, this isn't the case back then. And even then, I mean, I know they complain about how police deal with sex workers even now. So you can imagine how little they gave a shit back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
got to deal with, I'm going to go and help the good standing citizens before I worry about scum. It will be their attitude,
Yep.
And it's the same as gangsters killing gangsters. It's like, we don't give a shit. They're wiping each other out. Who cares?
Yeah.
So a serial killer killing sex workers, to them, they're on the same level. They're both criminals. Let them fucking deal with it amongst themselves, as long as you don't hit any good white women. Everything is fine. Anyway, let's keep going. It's your turn, Amy.
Oh, I already said it about wondering how long Fuad would have gotten away with it.
Oh, yeah. It's my turn. So it's funny because it would have seemed like the safest bet for him. But I don't think as well that it served his needs completely. Do you know? The ancient story of the first blood feast says nothing about requiring... They don't really like having sex in all of these cases. When you talk about any of these kind of ritualistic fucking old-timey stuff, it's always the virgin they're looking for.
Yeah.
They're not looking for the town bicycle. They want a brand new bicycle. Yes. Never ridden before. You know? Personal to them. And even then, it's strange because as well, we talked about this story last week, right? The story of the blood feast.
Yeah.
And what it was by Dr. Lou Herschell. And he's from the University of Pennsylvania. So this guy knows what he's talking about.
He does.
And just to refresh people's memory, what did I say that guy's name was again? It wasn't that.
Dr. Lou Herschell?
No. Tomo. What was he? I have it down as Tomo here. Was it Tammuz? Tammuz. So Tammuz was a guy who had a thing for Ishtar. But Ishtar had a very high standard. You had to do something to show her you loved her. So Tammuz went out and he killed 7 children, wasn't it? 7 boys and 7 girls or something along those lines, and made a giant feast which he fed to the children's families without them knowing. And then because of what he had done, Ishtar saw it as a great sacrifice and took him as a lover.
Okay.
And that's kind of the story that Fuad is running on here. So that's even weird again because Fuad is going for adults and he's not going to be feeding this blood feast to their parents. So straight away, he's kind of going off of what the ritual actually is. He's kind of just, I suppose, working it out in his head and doing what he thinks he's capable of doing. But technically, if this was a real thing, if he was right about the ritual working, it's not going to work the way he's doing it, is it? And it's certainly not going to work with adult sex workers.
Yes.
So we got to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Fuad agrees with you because from what I can tell, the sex workers who opened his killing spree were just warm-ups and followed a slightly different motivation. In most cases, they seemed to be quick kills with small appendages like fingers, teeth even, and sometimes only hair being taken from the murder scene.
Well, he might have taken some teats too.
But after 7 days and 7 murders in the red light districts of Paris, Fuad switched things up and looked to be well on his way to collecting new ingredients for his second attempt to wake Ishtar with a blood feast.
So again, like we said, the police response wasn't exactly fucking urgent. But as the body started to mount, they did start instead of just going down to the red light districts and talking to the girls, they started putting out news warnings, reports aimed at these sex workers to let them know. So what they had been telling them in person, they now put it out on a wide scale on the radio because obviously they can't guarantee that they're going to talk to all these girls individually.
Okay.
So it's easier just to have it constantly running on the radio because again, in the 60s, yeah, you have TV, but the radio was still a very powerful means of
communication.
Yeah, I mean, like you got your information from the radio. You listened to the news on the radio. You know, it was on. I mean, I remember
people spent evenings sitting
90s,
beside the radio.
But in the 90s, from the minute my mother got up in the morning, the radio went on in the kitchen and it didn't go off until she went into the sitting room in the evening to chill out and watch TV.
Yeah.
Do you know, it was on all day long. You got in the car, radio on. Do you know, it was just always playing. So you were always getting your news source from that. So you can imagine in the 60s when TV is more limited. Because I mean, back in the 60s, TV had a start and end time. It wasn't just a 24-hour running channel. The channel switched off at some point, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes midnight, sometimes 1, 2 o'clock. But at a certain time, the national anthem plays and the fucking thing stops. And it starts again in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're not going to get a constant flow. And you'd have to assume if you're a sex worker, most of the time that you're going to maybe hear and see stuff is going to be evening time and nighttime.
Probably.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You're probably going to sleep most of the day because you're a night worker. You know, you work the night shift.
Unless you try to get the early birds. Yeah.
Yeah. I think notoriously women who do any sort of sex work, it's always the B team that goes out in the bright, doesn't it?
Oh, the B team.
Well, I always heard about strip clubs.
Would you not send the A team out, the better
during
looking
the
ones
day?
during the day, and then...
Well, I've always heard that you don't want to go to a strip club during the day in America.
Oh.
Because that's when, as they say it themselves, the women with bullet holes and missing teeth are on stage.
Okay.
They keep the prime ones for evening time use. But see, I assume again as well, if you're like a really good looking girl doing sex work, you're probably going to get to pick and choose when you want to go, because you know if you go out at night, everybody, the majority of guys are going to go looking for you at night.
That's true.
Fewer are going to look for you during the day. Plus, at night, you have the shadows to hide in if the police come looking. Whereas at the daytime, if you're standing there in a G-string and fucking high heels, they're probably going to pick you up pretty quickly. You know?
Yeah.
And you have more complaining people during the day. I mean, if a mom's wheeling her kid down the buggy or walking with her toddler and they start pointing at the sex worker, you got to assume that woman is going to go and complain. Whereas at night, you don't have children on the street.
I'd probably ask the mother why her child was in a red light district.
He was horny.
Okay.
Mommy, your boobs don't give milk anymore. Bring me to the red light district. I'm going to find a big set of memories.
Not how it works. The radio messages were all well and good, but if you weren't a sex worker, it was a message that you would ignore. Just like Patricia Tracy, the first, for lack of better words, regular girl to end up on Fuad's disgusting shopping list.
Yeah, and this is kind of the first case of him as well, breaking into the home to get her. Like, and we'll explain later how he knows where to go and when to get these women, because he had a very kind of smart way of doing this.
Yeah.
But he was in her home when she returned from being out. He was hiding out. Very reminiscent of BTK. Who would come into your house, cut the phone lines, and then go hide in your fucking wardrobe until you came home and lay down to go to sleep.
Creepy.
And suddenly he was on top of you, you know, like a proper fucking predator.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And Fuad was similar, and he waited and kind of pissed around her apartment until he heard her coming home, and then he hid. And Patricia decided to go take a bath, and that's when he's jumped on her. Because you're very vulnerable in the bath. Because even if someone comes bursting in the door, you try and jump up out of a fucking bat, you're going to slip and slide a fair fucking bit before you can get your hands and stuff. So in this case, he gruesomely murdered the woman and took an eye and a leg.
For his feet.
Chopped her fucking leg off from the knee down.
Yeah.
When police found her, that's pretty much the way they found her.
Yeah.
Pretty much nasty. And that was after a day or two as well, because she had to be missing and someone had to go looking for her to find this gruesome body. I believe it might have been her mother that actually eventually kind of came to the house and found her the way she was. Imagine that, man.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
And just like most serial killing cases in America, this death kicked the cops into action.
Yeah, well, they had this attitude forever now. The way they see it is, if you're out hooking, like I said earlier, if you're out hooking, then you know the dangers. And in most cases, you're probably on the bottom rung of society. Plus, once they put their Jane Does on ice, it's unlikely these women would have family to come look for them. A lot of these cases, they're in situations where they have no family or they're estranged from their families. So by the time anyone realizes they haven't heard from Mary Jane in a while and reports to the police, the case has gone stone cold or the killer is long gone.
Yeah. But kill an innocent white girl and suddenly every cop turns into a mix of Sherlock Holmes and Horatio Caine.
Ow! Yeah. Yeah, so safe to say the investigation was in full swing. But Fuad wasn't feeling the heat just yet, with no one on the force knowing a thing about his European killing spree.
The murder of Patricia Tracy was a gruesome one, but with no witnesses and no fingerprints, the seemingly motiveless crime was extremely difficult to investigate. In fact, the only thing found with Pat would eventually lead back to Fuad was a book, Ancient Weird Religious Rites.
Yes. So no, this is what I was talking about. This is how Fuad was finding his victims and being able to get their address and all that stuff. So Fuad put a little advert into the newspaper advertising that he had a book club, and that if you subscribe to the book club, he would send you this free book, which was Ancient Weird Religious Rites.
Okay.
And for some reason, women in Florida were very interested in these
I'd have probably signed up for the book.
So that's what was happening. Women would write him with their address and details, and then he'd send them the book. And for the longest time, they don't know, like the cops weren't making this connection, but eventually as it all starts to fall into place, they realized that they were finding this book as they went along in everyone's possession. Or if he killed them somewhere else, once they went and looked into their family life or their background or their home, the book would always turn up.
Okay.
But in this case, obviously at this point, it's just a book. They don't know anything, there's no real connection to their story here, so they paid no attention. And they just left the fucking slide. But this is how Fuad was picking people to go after. He'd get the address, he'd stalk them a while, and then jump.
It's a good advert for having a P.O. box. But so we know what Fuad's goal was, and we know he was well on his way to completing his evil meal. But as you pointed out earlier, he needed to find willing participants to eat the meal for the ritual to work. And that's where the Fremonts come in. Mm-hmm. You see, Fuad's Deli was more than just a clever front. It was also a trap to find unsuspecting dinner guests and to feed them his long pig delicacy.
I fucking hate that description of cannibalism when you're eating human.
Pig.
Long pig is what they like to call it. And it's...
Apparently we taste like pig, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard chicken.
I heard both, actually. I've heard chicken as well.
It depends on where you cut the meat.
How you're cured, I suppose.
I don't plan to ever find out. No.
I'd rather taste like chicken than bacon.
Why?
Chicken seems a bit cleaner.
Do you think? Yeah. I like bacon though.
I like bacon too, but I don't want that temptation.
I'm hungry. Slice me off a bit.
Some bacon fingers.
Good way to lose weight though.
Oh yeah.
Take it from my thighs. I ate cake earlier. So Dorothy Fremont is from the upper society. She's I can't remember what her particular job or what her husband's job was, but he was a businessman. He made a lot of fucking money and they lived a very nice life. They had a big house, pool, lived the high society, had big parties and stuff like that. And that's why she was coming to Fuad. She wanted to throw Suzette, her daughter, a big ass birthday party.
Okay.
A special birthday party. And I think it might have been as well because she was working really hard in her studies, which happened to be Egyptian studies. So that falls really into, I mean, you can see why Fuad would hear something like that. Because obviously she gave Fuad all these details about the party to prepare for the party. And when it was brought up that her daughter was in Egyptian studies, he was like, well, I have a fucking meal for you, lady. This meal hasn't been served in 5,000 years. Liar. Fucking liar. You served it only over in France a couple of months ago.
But it didn't work. So
he served it.
Okay.
They ate some of it. It happened. But he claimed it hadn't happened in 5,000 years. And he was going to make this perfect Egyptian delicacy for the Fremont party, which Dorothy was delighted with because, you know, these upper society people, there's nothing they like better than something that's exclusive, something just for them. Something no one else has.
It's tried in 5,000 years.
Yeah, we're going to have a meal that hasn't been cooked in 5,000 years. Well, maybe there's a reason they haven't cooked it in 5,000 years. Maybe it tastes like shit. You know? Awful metallic bloody taste off of this. So the date was set for the blood feast. He knew now when he had to be ready for it, which meant he was going to just fucking push this shit into real fucking overdrive. And he decided to tell this to his new statue of Ishtar.
So he did believe that Ishtar was coming to him, so if he had a statue.
I don't know. See, this is something we missed last week, something I actually forgot to mention last week. Another thing that drew Officer Fatih to Fuad was the fact that he worked in the museum Le Homme.
Yeah.
They had a robbery one of the nights.
But he got knocked out, didn't he? No?
Yeah. And it was an Egyptian fucking statue that was robbed. And he believed that was Ishtar.
Yeah.
You know, in his mind, that was Ishtar. I don't actually think they had a statue of Ishtar in this fucking museum at all. So he obviously just grabbed the first Egyptian thing
that he could see.
But this time it was a little more fucking rough. Because like we said, Fuad only has a certain amount of money here. He's after rushing his way over here. He's trying in a rush job to get this second blood feast going because, I mean, look, I suppose he's getting impatient. He went through a lot of trouble in France. Now he's got to do it again here. This time it was just a mannequin he found in a dumpster at the back of a clothing store that he had painted some war paint on and put some fucking Egyptian style clothes on.
A for effort though, I suppose.
That was it. That's all he really had this time.
Now, with a feast date in sight, Fuad decided that he needed to kick it into high gear, and with only one name currently on his book mailing list, Fuad made his way to the address of Astrid Olsen. But he arrived just in time to see Astrid leave for a night out with her boyfriend David Friedman. With Astrid out for the night and not wanting the night to go to waste, Fuad decided to do some hunting, targeting Miami Beach late that night.
This place was a popular party and hookup spot for teens and 20, people in their early 20s. There's a lot of like beach parties at this place. I mean, look, come here. If we lived on the fucking beach in our late teens, early 20s, we'd have been partying on the beach every fucking Miami. The heat's going to be fucking gorgeous. So you're going to be happy out there. No, saying that Florida is known for being a bit of a fucking nutcase area and a killer breeding ground. So, I mean, maybe I would have been dodgy about being there that late at night on my own.
Yeah.
But she wasn't on her own. She was there with her boyfriend, Tony Coutier. And this is Marcy Martin we're talking about.
Marcy Martin. Okay.
So, according to Tony, they were getting a bit hot and heavy on the beach. And after a party, they had left the party a bit further down the beach and they were up there and they were getting a bit hot and heavy. Doing their kissing and petting and then,
petting. Hanky panky.
Yeah,
they're hunka-munka.
They were getting there. They were getting to the hunka-munka. Slowly but surely. But they were interrupted by, Tony didn't actually see the man that interrupted because Tony was on top. And he was
somebody got knocked out.
Yeah, he got a belt to the head to start everything off. And he said when he woke up, he found Marcy lying next to him, headless with part of her brain removed. Or not headless, hairless. Scalped with a part of her hair.
Where did you think her brain was stored?
yeah, Miami people, they're shit at biology. no, scalped with a part of her brain removed.
Oh.
So her hair and her brain were missing.
Nice.
Or part of her brain was missing. He was supposed to be fucking inconsolable when the cops arrived. Like fucking snot rolling down his nose, fucking hyperventilating, barely able to get any information out. But they were able to kind of put it together throughout the sobs and figure out. I mean, apparently there was cops trying to hold him up. Like he kept getting weak and falling over with the... Yeah, it wasn't able that well. Come here.
He loved the girl. And he woke up and saw that.
Regardless if you loved or hated the person, if you woke up and saw the person you had been talking to 5 minutes ago suddenly with no hair and a bit of their brain sticking out, I'd probably be hyperventilating. I think
instinctively my first reaction would be I see them and then I check my own.
It's all there. Oh, shit. But yeah. Not a good night for Tony. Definitely not a good night for Mars.
Oh,
but
no.
This is murder number 9 on the blocks. You got the 7 unidentified, and you just the second identifiable murder.
Exactly. Now that's a hell of a night's work, right?
Yeah.
But murdering, scalping, and removing the brain seems like you'd be pretty tired after that, but not Fuad. Knowing he was now in a time crunch and having finished the first murder in record time with plenty of night left, he decided to go back to the flat of Astrid Olsen and wait.
So instead of missing out and finding a replacement for Marcy Martin, he just went back to score the second body. So 2 bodies in one night kind of thing for him here.
Yep. And this one would be particularly nasty. Astrid and David were out particularly late that night, not arriving home until the early hours of the morning. David said that he left Astrid at her door and then made his way to his own flat at the other end of the complex. Astrid was found the next morning dead from having her tongue ripped out by the stem.
Same thing he did to Lilienschwarz in Paris. The tongue must have been an important part of the ritual.
Oh, I'd say so.
You know?
Yeah.
For him to go that deep both times and to pull it out from so fucking far back and to take it, and for it to be the only thing he took in both fucking crimes, it had to be significant.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds really disgusting. In the case of Lilo Strauss, we know he literally ripped her tongue out with his teeth. But in the case of Marcy Martin, it appeared he had stuck his fingers down her throat and ripped the tongue out while the girl struggled for her life. And she would end up expiring from drowning on her own blood. Sorry, I said Marcy. That was Astrid.
Oh, yeah. I always hear that. It sounds terrible. The idea of fucking
gargling and I don't
choking on your own fucking blood. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's fucking terrible.
Would have been polite and just turn her onto her side.
Yeah, nice guy would have done that.
Nice guy would have done it.
But he had just ripped her fucking tongue out, so I don't think he's a very nice guy. The cops in charge of this investigation were Captain Frank Hall and Detective Pete Thornton. They were at a loss with the supposedly motiveless crime. In fact, it wasn't until the parents of Marcy Martin came in to talk to Detective Thornton that the police got even an inkling of their first clue. You see, her mother told police the only new thing in Marcy's life was a book club she joined through a mailing list found in a local newspaper advertisement.
Ooh.
Seemed like nothing at the time, but when a copy of Ancient Weird Religious Rites was found at the home of Astrid Olsen, just like Patricia Tracy, Thornton started to make the link.
Yep. But before he could get too deep into his new clue, another attack occurred, this time in broad daylight. Only thing is, this time the victim survived.
Survived, but unlikely to recover.
Which is why the detective dropped everything to be by the victim's bedside. He hoped to get a few words in with Miss Janet Blake before she succumbed to her injuries.
Yeah, her injuries were pretty fucking bad. He took her face off. Like Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, face off.
Yeah, no.
And she was in pretty bad shape. He fucking, to get her down and hold her down, he had to beat the living shit out of her first. So she was like broken, bruised, bloodied, and the face being taken off, and then being kind of out in the elements on her own, half dying as it was for a couple of hours, didn't really help the situation. It was almost like a very quick infection came on in the body as well, and she was in shock and all this.
Oh, you'd go into shock straight away after that face came off, I'd say. Like the blood loss, everything.
So it was pretty nasty. But when she was lucid on and off for a couple of hours. Like you might get a minute or two of her where she kind of panic talk and then she'd just be gone again.
Gone again, yeah.
In one of the lucid moments that she had, because Thornton had stayed there to fucking be on the ball and ready to fucking jump at any chance to ask her a question, he got in there and he was trying to ask her, is there anything at all that you might remember? Anything. She just started mumbling the words, man, saying Ishtar, Ishtar, Ishtar. And then she passed out again. And I think after that time, she passed out and she didn't come back.
I mean to laugh. She sounds like what's her name's character in on Mad TV? Lois's voice. Oh, do you know she does the Japanese woman?
Yeah.
And she's like, the man.
You look like a man. He look like a man. Yeah, anyway. So, we might as well add in here as well, which is so fucking weird that these two stories are so fucking similar in a sense. While Penny had been starting a relationship with Officer Fatih, in Paris.
Calling him Faith.
Well, the letters are just
I know,
yeah. Detective Thornton happened to be in a relationship with Suzette, whose party was going to be the blood feast.
Oh my God.
He had met her because he had also had an interest in history, and he was doing a part-time history class in the same college that Suzette was going to. And Suzette had a big interest, like we said, in Egyptian studies, so he would discuss Egyptian studies with her, and to him Ishtar sounded kind of Egyptian as well, so he did start to get a little suspicious and start linking that in, because on top of that the books are being found about ancient rites and all this kind of ancient religious rites and stuff like that. So I mean, he is starting to get there slowly but fucking surely.
And not being able to shake the notion that he'd heard the name Ishtar before and convinced it had some Egyptian connection, Detective Thornton decided to consult his course lecturer, Dr. Al Flanders. He listened to the detective's case and the witness statements and came to the conclusion that what the girl actually heard was Ishtar, not Ishtar, and he recommended talking to a Mr. Fuad Ramses.
Stupid fucking Flanders. Get everybody fucking caught.
Dr. Flanders said he had met Fuad recently and that Fuad introduced him to a book he was circulating for a book club by the name of Ancient Weird Religious Rites.
So, connection made.
Yes.
Right there. Any good cop will be able to fucking figure this one out from this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, same book is at the homes of all recent non-sex worker victims.
Yes.
Thornton looked into similar crimes around the country and he eventually was told by another cop who had an interest in true crime and stories around the world about similar crimes that had taken place in Paris, France very recently.
Yes.
So then Thornton went through the mind-numbingly painful fucking process, especially back in that time, of trying to get on to the French authorities, trying to find the right cops that were investigating the case and then trying to find out what they knew and have them send that information over to them.
Yes.
Now, he was lucky this time because the cops were still dealing with the whole Penny and fucking Louise issue and they really needed to get Fuad fucking arrested so that they could extradite him back after he'd been dealt with in America and basically figure out the whole fucking mess over there. And I think it was going to be easier for them to figure out the mess and to prosecute him once they could prove he was doing the exact same shit over here, minus his wife and thing, especially if he went along and drugged maybe Suzette and her fucking mother and guess there, because you'd have to assume that before he served the food, he was going to have to fucking alter their fucking reality a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, they might be stupid enough to take a few bites, but after a few bites, you're going to be like, this kind of looks like a hand. You know?
Or was he going to have it in like a stew? So
I don't know. I just, well, I don't know, but all I'm saying is you're still going to have enough there to connect him to everything and maybe put a bit more clarity on the parasite things. So the detectives in charge of the case were more than happy to help out Thornton with his investigation to see if they had found where he'd gone, because they had a fair idea that like he had left the country. So this was just confirmed. All right, we know where the fucker is now. Let's help this guy out. Let him do the dirty work, and we bring this cunt back over here and nail him. You know.
And finally, they had their breakthrough in the case.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it wasn't quick enough because while police were out chasing down the Ishtar lead, Fuad was busy putting the final touches to his ancient Egyptian meal.
Trudy Sanders was his next and last victim, a close friend of Suzette Fremont.
Trudy, under the suggestion of Suzette, had written to Fuad for her own copy of Ancient Weird Religious Rites. Little did she know that signing up for his mailing list would also see her end up high on Fuad's hit list.
So Fuad called Trudy's home phone number and learned that she was staying with Suzette. That afternoon, Fuad went to stake out the Fremont residence with hopes of kidnapping Trudy from the grounds. When he got there, he found Suzette, Trudy and Sandra Sinclair lounging around the Fremont pool.
Fuad is believed to have been on the land watching the girls for a number of hours, waiting for his time to strike. After a few hours of lazing around the pool, the girls went their separate ways to prepare for Suzette's party. As Trudy left the grounds of the home, Fuad jumped out, thumping her in the head just hard enough to knock her out, making for an easier and quieter escape.
That scares me about serial killers.
That they can just wait for hours.
That you could be just about your normal day and they're just watching.
Waiting.
Proper predator. I mean, it's animalistic the way they fucking deal. It's like a fucking big cat or something. Sneak eater. And they know how to blend in as well, you know? Now, only Fuad and Trudy know the full extent of the pain and torture subjected to this girl on this day. And with both of them dead, we can only speculate to the degree of misery Fuad brought down on this woman. What we do know is she was taken back to his deli and tied to like an X-frame, most commonly found in BDSM dungeons, like the one we have downstairs in the basement.
Yeah, along with the A-frame.
Once securely tied to the frame, it's believed that Fuad revived the girl before starting a savage beating, using a thick whip to lash the skin from the bone on her back, making sure to place plenty of buckets underneath the dying woman in order to collect her blood, the last ingredient of his concoction for Ishtar.
Once the blood was added to the broth, Fuad packed his tools for Suzette's party. The blood feast was now almost complete. All the necessary ingredients were at hand, and all that was left was a sacrifice to the Egyptian gods. a spot specially reserved for the birthday girl, Suzette.
Meanwhile, Detective Thornton had ID'd his man and was on his way to Fuad's deli with a team of police and a search warrant. How the fuck did he think he was going to get away with murdering the birthday girl and then having the party afterwards? Again, trying to make sense of a senseless mind is fucking crazy. You know, this is the same problem we always have with serial killers, where you and me sit here and we try and like reason what they're doing, and it's like you realize it's like, well, why are we trying to reason with unreasonable people?
Could be going off the thing that the birthday girl's always fashionably late.
Okay.
Start the party.
So obviously, when they get to his deli, they find a fucking wealth of evidence.
Yeah.
They know for 100% fact, no fucking doubt about it, this is the Fuad Ramses from the Paris attacks. This is the man that is killing the people in Miami. They know it. They have the bodies. They have the weapons. They have the blood. They have the statue to Ishtar. They have the books. They have everything. This guy is dead to rights. The only thing they don't got is Fuad fucking Ramses, because he ain't there. They find blood, they find body. I mean, it's once they get their hands on this fucker, it's over for him.
Yeah.
But can they get there in time? That's the question.
Thornton, who we know was in a relationship with Suzette, was well aware of the party and who was set up to cater the event. So he redirected his team to the Fremont residence and took off towards the home, hoping he wasn't too late to save Suzette from this deranged killer.
Thornton tried to call Suzette to warn her, but he was too slow. Fuad had already arrived and had cut the telephone line to the Fremont house, not wanting his victim to call for help before he could complete his ritual. Another fucking great thing about living in the modern world. We don't have phone lines anymore. We don't have to worry about that shit.
Exactly.
It's all in the air.
Yep.
As long as all that stuff in the air isn't like, radioactive and killing us slowly. We don't know that. We're not going to know that for a long time, are we?
Not until we die.
Like, well, I mean, like in the future, obviously, we'll have an idea of how damaging phones actually fucking are.
Oh, well, yeah.
But do you think like in like the next 20 or 30 years, there's going to be like a huge increase in brain cancer or something, or tumors?
I told you that already. I used to keep my Nokia 3310 in like the shirt, my blouse pocket right there, like over my chest. But then I was told to stop it because I get an inverted nipple.
What?
That's the reasoning behind it. Take it out of your breast pocket because your nipple will invert.
My granddad was the first person I saw do with the old Nokias. And every time he sat down, he'd take it out of his pocket and put it in the table in front of him. When I asked him, he was like, well, we don't know how radioactive these things are. I'm not sitting it with my pocket. It can go up here.
Smart
and he
man.
loved his tech. Like, he had a phone as soon as he could get a phone, like,
Yeah. So back at the Fremont party, Fuad was ready with the food, but he first needed Suzette to come into the kitchen to help him.
So he at this point, he's like really, really playing up the religious, superstitious old man. Like, darling, come in here and help me with my ritual. I need to pray before I can serve the meal, and I need
like,
your
it's
help.
my party. I'm not helping with the meal.
Well, that's why we need you. It's your party. You're the honorary guest. Help an old man out here. Just humor me. I need to do this to make the food perfect. It's a part of the Egyptian team. And obviously that would play into what Suzette's interest is anyway.
So she'd want to observe.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Once alone in the kitchen, Fuad had Suzette lie on the kitchen counter, which he made into his altar. Telling Suzette to lie with her eyes tightly closed, that would be a red flag for me, Fuad began the ritual with a prayer to Ishtar. But as...
That's because in this day and age, we're like, close your eyes. No problem. Are you feeling my boob? Is that you touching my boob? Why are you taking my top off?
As he prepared to stab her in the chest with a butcher knife as a final offering to his goddess, Suzette laughed, knocking Fuad out of his trance. Because she wouldn't take him seriously, Ramsey's attempt to sacrifice her was delayed, giving Dorothy Fremont time to get suspicious and to enter the kitchen and interrupt Fuad just as he was about to stab Suzette and finally finish the ritual. Startled by being caught red-handed, Fuad ran, escaping just as the police arrived to the home.
And that is like the one time where a snobby rich person's impatience was finally
paid
useful,
off.
Do you know? But you can imagine her. She was walking around the fucking living room with the party and being like, what is he doing? We had the party. The food was supposed to come out at this time. I need to go in and see what he's doing. And he's taking up Suzette's time. I'm going to go in and see what's up with this. And getting real Karen about the whole shit. And then she walks in and it's, wee, put the knife down. Anyway, the next part is awesome. I mean, we have covered a lot of death on this podcast, but this is definitely one of my favorites. I definitely would not want to be on the cleaning crew for this afterwards.
So Fuad led the team of Miami police on a wild foot chase, taking them through a nearby dump site. And in a panic and seeing the net close in, Fuad took the first opportunity he could to hide.
Well, he was in a panic as well, because I didn't mention this, but last week in his struggle, he's kind of rushed to get away from the original crime scene. He had hurt his leg. I'm not 100% sure how he did it, but he was dealing with a foot injury to this point, because it's only a few months later, and since he hadn't had it treated, it hadn't gotten any better. So Fuad had developed an awful limp, and he limped everywhere, which again I think made him again seem like
harmless.
Yeah, the old man, because his hair had gone a bit grey in this time, I suppose. Stress, and he's limping around. He looks like a harmless old man. You know, you're not going to be
same way Bundy paid up the cast and stuff like that.
But this wasn't really playing it up. The dude had a fucked up leg at this point. He was just trying to get by, but so he was struggling to get away from, or keep the cops at a distance when they were chasing him. I mean, fully athletic we fucking trained for this police who chase people out every day, an old limping man who's trying to fucking get away. You know, it's not working out too good for him.
Feeling the pain in his foot and knowing that there was no way he could outrun the fit policeman with his disability, Fuad saw a garbage truck whose driver had just gotten into the cab, getting ready to leave for the day. Fuad, taking the opportunity to catch a lift out of trouble, probably with plans to flee and try again, climbed into the back of the truck with all the other rubbish. What Fuad wasn't expecting was that once started, the compactor on the garbage truck instantly activates to crush all material dumped into the back. With nowhere else to run and now nowhere to hide, Fuad was trapped, and before police caught up and got the attention of the truck driver, Fuad Ramses was crushed to death, his reign of terror over and his blood feast cancelled.
See? Gruesome as fuck. It is a huge fear of mine.
Oh my, I've
seen
not
it
even
so many times.
One of them is just being compacted. Or no.
I've seen it with Star Wars when they're in the garbage fucking thing as well, and it's coming at them.
Or Godfather of Harlem, that stuck with me for a few days. When he was
in the car. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like
car
those
crusher.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of that. But I'm fair, at least it'll be over quick. You know,
depends how fast the compactor is.
Because this isn't even the first time.
But you have the fear of it though. With those
this isn't even the first time we've talked about this on this show. And we talked about Charles Lee Ray. Remember when Andy Barkley was at the military school?
Yeah.
And the good guy doll was was supposed to be thrown into the trash there, but somehow got back out, and the guy who was working it got crushed looking for whoever was hiding out inside. Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
And that was the end of Fuad Ramses and his blood feast.
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank fuck he didn't have two nephews who did it again, or a grandson who tried to do it again. That would have been terrible. In fact, it would have been god awful, and nobody should ever look at that story. It's terrible. Anyway, I mean, it would have been terrible.
It would have been terrible.
But that definitely didn't happen. Not in the horrorverse anyway. But I enjoyed the story of Fuad.
Yeah. It's not a bad story.
And the documentary was good as well. The Blood Feast documentary from the 60s. And the other Blood Feast documentary they did in 2020.
They redid. Yeah.
Yeah, very good stuff.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
Exactly.
And us coming back to serial killers, we were really deep in the conspiracy world there for a few
We needed
weeks.
to get back to a bit of gore.
We were dealing with a lot of God and a lot of preachers.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a guy who thought he was a vampire, but, you know, that shit happens too.
It was fun. He was a nice guy.
But yeah, I felt like serial killer. We needed to get really deep back into that real fucking crime.
Back to our
element.
roots.
Until next week.
Yes.
When someone else will be going back. And that's as much as I'm going to be saying about that.
Or forward.
No, this guy definitely comes back.
Oh, just back. Yeah. Sorry. Yep. And if you want more horror, ghosts, aliens, or true crime, then check out our Patreon for more great shows like the IAA bonus show, It's a Live Action, or our wrestling history show, Wrestling with Time.
Also, we have your great history show, Playing with Bones. We just finished up season 3 on that this week.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. So you got, 4, 8, 12 episodes of that up there now. They're really fucking fun to listen to. So go check that out. And Amy's awesome mini bios that come out every Monday. Called Mini Monsters, where she takes a cryptid or some fucked up weird thing in history and time, and she covers that really quickly. They're usually about 5 to
10 minutes. Yeah.
5, 10, 15 minutes
20.
max. But they're always awesome. I enjoy them. I listen to them going to sleep.
Aww.
I just put on like a list of them and I listen to one after the other, and I usually just.
That's because you like my voice.
I
or you're just
do,
sick of
I
listening
enjoy
to
it.
my voice.
Well, if I was sick of it, I wouldn't put it on, would I? I'd put someone else's
So you
podcast.
fall asleep to it because I bore you.
No, it soothes me.
Thank you.
Sends me into a nice, peaceful a dream where everything is nice and peaceful because you're there, but there's also an evil monster there that's chasing me down, like Jeff the fucking mongoose. You can talk about him like he's not. He's a fucking
monster.
Or the skunk ape, or the doulahan, or all the various other things that you had fucking terrify me into my sleep.
Scalpies.
Luckily, I like nightmares. They're fun. It's
Yeah,
like a
they
free
sound like
horror
fun
movie.
when they happen to you, in fairness.
It's like a free horror movie given only to me, my own personal
Bit of
flick.
adrenaline rush.
So that, along with pics, videos, news, reviews, and we do a lot of reviews now on the Horrorverse headlines,
Yes.
which comes out every Friday. We do a really cool one this week. We're going to be talking about the movies of Philip K. Dick.
Yep.
So you got Blade Runner, you got Total Recall, Minority Report, Screamers. And we talk about them and kind of get into where there are horror elements in the idea of dystopian future sci-fi.
Not being
movies.
able to trust your mind.
Not being able to trust your mind, not being able to trust your government, not being able to trust your AI or your tech or anything.
Everybody has let you down.
Don't trust anyone except
I
for us.
feel like he was screaming that through his books. That seems like a good way to just sum up all his stories.
So all that is now available at patreon.com/the Horrorverse Network, and it's only $5 a month with a 7-day free trial for all new subscribers. Also, if you don't want to subscribe, you don't want to make an account, I give you free shit up there all the time. You can listen to Mini Monsters. You can listen to this show or watch this show free of charge. You can watch the Horrorverse headlines or listen to the Horrorverse headlines free of charge every week on our Patreon feed, or you can listen to them on Spotify or any good podcast provider. Go check it out now. We'll be back next week with more tales from the Horrorverse. See you all next time. Same Alive time, same Horrorverse channel. K. Love ya. Bye-bye.
I love you. Bye-bye.